All right, shalom, shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, whose true name is Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who do well. Peace and salutations to you, Akim, doing the work in truth and in sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This is your brother Amawan Ariala with the GMS Miami Heroes Camp. And real quick, just want to, do a real quick impromptu. Things are starting to heat up. Okay, and the Heavenly Father is bringing destruction to this place. But one of the things that He's doing that sticks out to me is that the fact that the Lord is actually hitting the pockets of America. Okay, and why do I say that? It's because look what He's doing. Okay, He is, allowing Iran, to block up the Strait of Hormuz. Now we know the Strait of Hormuz is a pathway that allows ships to transport goods and oils and things, oil and things of that nature. Things that are very pertinent to America and the rest of the world. Okay, but because of what's been happening, because of Trump's pride, all right, these nations, they're sick and tired of America, aka Babylon. Okay, so they started hitting America where it hurts the most, and that's their pockets. Okay, because we know America thrives off the petrodollar. Okay, and real quick, let's go into what the petrodollar really is. Okay. All right, it says the petrodollar is a U.S. dollar that oil exporting country receives as payment for selling crude oil on the international market. The term gained widespread recognition in the 1970s when the global oil crisis dramatically increased crude oil prices and fundamentally reshaped international trade relationships. While a simple definition might describe petrodollar as a U.S. dollars paid to oil exporting countries, this explanation overlooks the historical significance and complex economic implication of how this system came into existence and why it became so influential in shaping global finance and geopolitics. And this is what Iran is having an impact on. They're having an impact on America's pockets. All right, the petrodollar. This is what they use to trade oil, and this is how they use to pay for oil, so on and so forth. Okay. But we're seeing that these things are happening now. Now, we know for the most part that a lot of these major corporations, they require, trucks and ships to ship their product. But what happens when the oil, right, or the gas that's needed to transport these things start to rise? They're going to start including that price in their products. So who really pays for the high cost of fuel and these different things? The people, the American people, more so much.
A city is
much
built,
more because
set upon a
America's
broad field, and it is full of all good things. Its entrance is narrow, set in a place of danger to fall,
so this is going to have
like
an
fire
impact on a lot of you Americans here in America, man. All right, gas prices are going to go up, food prices are going to go up. All right, the cost of living is just going to go back to what it was during the pandemic. All right, but it's going to be a lot more worse because Iran's attitude is that they're not going to give up. They're going to continue to go hardcore, man. Okay, they're going to go hard until they can't go hard no more. Shit, so the way I see it, they're willing to die behind this, man. Okay, in America, in its pride, it thinks that it's going to continue forever, and it's not. All right, the Lord is going to put a stop to a lot of this shit that America has been doing for a very long time. And Yahweh Shai said it, man. It says in Matthew 24:6, it says, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So even though we're hearing the wars and rumors of wars, the end is not yet, because we still have the MOTB that needs to come out. All right, and then we still have Isaiah 4:1, the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, so certain things have to play out, but guess what? The time for that stuff to play out is not going to be long. Look how it was during the pandemic. Right, the pandemic started in 2019, ended in 2023 or 2022 or what have you, but we're in 2026 now. That was 6-7 years ago. All right, which seems like it was 3 years or 2 years ago. So the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is speeding up the times, man. Okay, so time is definitely speeding up. But Yahweh Shai is doing this for a reason. He says, if I have to do it, because if I don't do it, no flesh is going to be left, man. Matthew 24:21 says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So the Yahweh Shai is shortening the days for his elect, man. Which means it's only a matter of time before Yahweh Shai brings forth his destruction. Okay? Should have said that our salvation is nearer than what we believed. Right, our salvation, Yahweh Shai, redeeming us and buying us back from our captors, is nearer than what we believed. Okay? You have men like Al-Azhar that says, well, the deliverance of the nation of Israel is like another 1,000 years from now. Nigga, another 1,000 years, man. If you don't know what time we're in now, then you don't have a clue about what the scripture's about. Romans 13:11 says, and that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep. Now that we've seen these things happen, World War III, and the possibility of the MOTV being implemented, because remember, the MOTV is going to be a means to an end. Because once the financial currency of Babylon is done away with, what else is left? That's when they're going to introduce the MOTB. All right, through the midst of the chaos, they're going to try to introduce order, which is going to be the MOTB. Which really, it ain't going to, it's just programmable money. So there's only but so much you can do with that money anyway. So really, in the long side, in hindsight, 2020, it's a trap. All right, it's not going to bring you the real salvation. Even if in your mind you think it's going to bring you salvation, it's not. Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than what we believed. 3 years ago, we thought it was going to be 5 years from now, 6 years from now. But look how things are moving. I mean, we always been, looking up to the sky and asking Yahweh Shai to come anyway. Like, we knew that time was, was near. You know what I'm saying? But you had those, those of us so-called Israelites, right, who said that the time that it would take for Yahweh Shai to come back would be hundreds of years. No. All right, we're in that time now where the Lord is starting to show out. All right, prophecy is popping off the page. All right, the least of the flock is definitely drawing out the rest of these nations. All right, the Lord said that he's going to put hooks in the jaws of these nations to draw them back to war. All right, this is the book of Ezekiel 38. You start at verse 1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog. All right, so Gog is the Russians. The land of Magog is Russia. The chief prince, Ra'ash Shar, Russia. Ra'ash is head Shar prince. Ra'ah, head Shar prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against them, and say, Thus saith the Lord, the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and will put hooks in thy jaw, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with the shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Right? And this is what was happening now. Ra'ash Shar, Russia, the head prince, All right, he has these different connections with Iran and these different nations, such as Venezuela, to protect them, because they have deals with them. Okay, but the Lord's saying, look, man, the Lord, he's against all these different nations, man, and he's going to bring them to naught. Okay, and he's going to cause them. So even if Putin doesn't want to go to war, Xi Jinping don't want to go to war, the Lord's going to put the hooks in their jaws to bring them back into war, man. There's no getting out of this, man. The Lord is going to cause these nations to go to war and bring their destruction to, to reality, man. Okay? So, with that, I hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashmi Avshai, Bashim Chakodash, Shalom.